So if you guys watched the Cutlass episode, which I just finished like late last night, you might have some questions. Like, why'd we do it like that? Why did we film it like that? Was it a reason, or was I just, trying to drag things out? Well, if you want to find out the answer, check out this week's Tuesday Morning Tech Tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. So, in case you guys missed the episode, I'll give you a quick, synopsis, rundown on what we had going on. This right here, my friend Chippy's 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass Salon. It's got the 3.8 V6 and a pretty well-equipped little car. His parents bought it brand new back in 1985. And as a kid, I remember this being at the baseball field, getting rides, off his parents to baseball practice or whatever, because we grew up together, our families were tight, and I remember every car. That's just kind of how that goes. If you're a car guy, you get it, So Chippy's lucky enough to hang on to the car, and as we say all the time, life gets in the way. The car started life, it was blue, now it's black. He put some rims on it, put a system in it, dual exhaust, tinted the windows, drove around a little bit after his parents were done with it and started driving Cadillacs. So, I said life gets in the way. It's run into some disrepair. This is the perfect example of it ran when it was parked 23, 24 years ago. So we've gone through it. The motor was locked up. We broke it free. Carb was locked up. We replaced it. Bunch of little things here and there to try and get things working well. It was kind of coming along, and now it's kind of not want to cooperate with us. So we had a list. We'll put the list right here. And we went step by step through everything that was given to us from subscribers. Guys on the channel left us some comments and of what the problems might be as to why it's cranking slow, why it won't start. And it was kind of trying to pop off, now it's really not. So we went through that list one by one by one. It took us, about 2 days after we got some parts. So 2 days of working on it, troubleshooting, and unfortunately, we didn't make any difference. And I know people are like, oh my God, we watched that whole video and nothing happened. It's still the same. That's not true. We're going to sit down and talk about why it's not. Most of you guys probably know why it's not true. And the reason I say it's not wasted time or anything like that is because you got to go step by step. If you just throw all the parts at it at once, you never know what was wrong. And now, sometimes I got it. It doesn't matter what was wrong. As long as it's running now, we don't care. But it doesn't make you a very good mechanic. That's the kind of things, you guys hear me bitch about it. At work or even when I was in the Navy, people would throw parts at it. The aircraft come back with a gripe and they just throw parts at it. Oh, the code says this. Don't read the wires. Don't actually troubleshoot the system. Don't even understand how the system works. We just want to throw parts at it and get it back on the flight schedule. And I get it, right? Because, we are paying for it because, that's taxpayer money. It's not coming out of your pocket directly. So those guys that would do that were like, I don't care. I don't see another dime out of it if I save a couple bucks, so who cares? Now, if you guys saw aircraft parts and what the military pays for things, that would really upset you, all right? But, and then it's funny because the same guys, when I was in the military, would come back and work on their stuff and be like, whoa, no, I only need one of them. Let's make sure, are you sure that's the problem? Because what if it's this, what if it's that, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times, It's not exact science. And then people get, nowadays especially, I got to check engine code. Okay, you hook up the thing, you read the code, and it tells you change this sensor. And you change that sensor. And if it fixes it, you're like, hey, all right, this is great. Anybody can fix cars. If it doesn't fix it, you're like, this mechanic's a crook. He don't know what he's talking about. Now I don't know, when it could be the sensor, it could be the wire, it could be a connector, it could be the actual part that it's sensing. It could be a lot of different stuff, but you change the easiest thing first, right? Troubleshooting 101, right? So we went with the easiest stuff, looking for spark. We got fuel in there. Is this clogged? Is this not connected? Do we got a bad wire here? Those were all the suggestions we have. And all of them were like solid suggestions. I mean, the most simplest, like Ben was saying, I don't think it's just getting enough power. And he's right. He's right. It's not. I just don't know why, right? Well, I think he's right because we're leaning a little bit more towards this might be an internal problem with the motor. Now we're gonna, going forward, guys. So if you want to sneak peek at what you're going to see the next time you see this car on here, compression test, pull the plugs, check all that kind of stuff. And we're getting sparks, so that's not the issue. I don't think there's I don't know. I think it might be hanging up a little bit because the motor sat in one place for 20 some odd years. So ring ridge is a problem, and I can feel it really, even when I was trying to kind of just, Is that the problem? I don't know. I feel like it's getting worse from where we first broke the motor free. It was spinning pretty decent. It'll kind of pop and gallop. Now it's just everything's slowing down. We've replaced the starter. We've replaced the cables. We've checked for spark. We've taken all the accessories off, so that's not binding anything up. We made sure the exhaust isn't clogged up, so it's not just a big combustion. It's actually letting it out like an air pump should. So going through that list, and that's why we did the list, kind of started with the easiest thing. And now we're looking at making sure the motor is going to internally operating as it should. There's no reason it shouldn't, except for when something sits, and we've talked about this before. That's why I go around and spin the motor on the bike and the motors in the back shop and everything outside. Because when a motor just sits, anything mechanical just sits, bad things can happen. Like I said, he drove it to where it was sitting, shut it off, and expected to be back shortly. And we've said it a million times, guys, life gets in the way. He got busy doing things, was driving his truck every day. Next thing you know, a week turns into a month, turns into a year, turns into a decade. I just talked about that recently with my favorite project, my permanent project. So here I am, a car guy that knows this stuff, and it happens. It can easily happen to anybody, right? Especially if you now the average person has one vehicle, and they drive that until they get rid of it and get another vehicle. Some of us are lucky enough to have 2 or 3 or 12 or whatever it might be, and that's where it gets a little tricky, right? But back on track to the Cutlass. Some people, like I said, they might think it's not a big deal to throw parts at it as long as it runs. But what about, the next time you have that problem? You never know. You might end up getting another vehicle that has the same problem later on. And I mean, that's happened, and you can use your trend analysis, if you will, to figure out what the problem is. So, no, it wasn't some, YouTube scheme to get you to watch the whole thing and then, we got nothing at the end. It was me trying to figure out what's wrong with this car. And it gets frustrating. And not just this car, it happens with a lot of it. Just about if your project doesn't reach a point where you start to question every decision you've made in your life, it's not really a project, guys. And I don't care how organized you are, how great of a mechanic you are, how much money you got to throw at something, the quality of parts you're buying, the quality of project you bought. All these things are factors. But no matter what, at some point, you're like, what in the hell am I doing this for? And it doesn't mean nothing except for the fact that you're getting frustrated. And that's when you take a step back. You see, what I do, and I learned this from Kevin's favorite person, Dan from DD Speed Shop. That's when I move on to another project. I'm like, I'm very frustrated with this. I don't want to get mad at it. Let's look at this one. This is going to be a totally different, nothing's bad going to happen here. And then you work on that and you're like, what in the, ooh, I got this guy over here. So I'm not telling you that's a solid way to do things. In fact, it's probably one of the worst, but it keeps you doing the hobby you love to do. And at the end of the day, you'll probably have 3 or 4 decent projects. When they're done, you stop getting aggravated. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? And you always see people that don't really work on cars, and this is going to be a touchy subject. They don't work on cars, but they got cars, And what I mean by that is, I got a brand new Hellcat or a brand new Vet, or I just bought this fully restored, fill in the blank. And it's like, oh yeah, he's a car guy. And I've had this argument many times. True, my brother Anthony is a perfect example. I've mentioned this before, he likes to have a nice car. He don't give a damn to work on it. He don't care how it gets there. He's got a 71 Vet. It's beautiful. He washes it and drives it. And that's about it. Anything he's done, he's actually called me, hey, I'm on the side of the highway. The Vet quit running. What could it be? How the hell do I know? And he was waiting on a tow truck. He's being facetious, and he just thought it'd be funny. But he's not ever going to go work on it because it's just not his interest. And everybody's got their own thing. He'd rather be doing something else. He'd rather be on the golf course, and I'd rather be in the shop. That's just how it goes. We have gotten off track. I mean, yes and no. So those guys don't understand. Now, see, I'll bring it back around, guys. We always get there. My brother, for example, would be like, why did you waste all your time? I knew it could be these 5 things. Do all 5 things. What's it going to cost you? I spent, $40 on cables? Really, that's all the money we spent during all that troubleshooting. So it's like, let's go get them now. Try that. You think that's it? Try that. Well, these are easier. I was trying to depict the proper way to troubleshoot. And if you throw a bunch of parts at it, you never know what fixed it. That's it in a nutshell. However, we went through all the troubleshooting. We didn't throw any parts at it, I don't think. We kind of did the starter. The starter was kind of a crapshoot. But man, Jay was convincing. And it made a lot of sense. And I was like, okay, that's probably going out. But the clicking, there's a couple things that threw me off yeah. So, worst case scenario, we got a brand new starter. We got brand new cables. So, we'll look at the mechanical side of it. And we'll look at anything else if we're missing a relay or anything. I don't think we are. I think we kind of went through all that. But we're going to take a little time. We'll step away from it. Take a little time to kind of figure all that kind of stuff out. And if I'm a betting man, once this, we'll see how the compression test goes and what the internals look like. But I already know where Chippy's head's at because we've talked. And actually not recently about this exact thing, but he knows what I'm talking about. I've already been looking. All right. So hopefully that, I wasn't just trying to clickbait, get views, or, and I apologize if, You know, it should have been running at the end of that video. But that's the difference between watching some Chamook on YouTube in his shop behind his house and watching Chip Foose do it on Overhauling. He always managed to fit that into that 1 hour time frame and get it running. Whereas, I don't know, man, we may lose the shop. No, we're fine. Thanks for watching, guys.